Hi and welcome. I'm Andy Miuch and you're watching A News. Here are the headlines. US President Donald Trump set to announce 25% tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. EU and Baltic leaders marked the region's switch from Russia's electricity grid to the EU's system. AI Action Summit kicks off in Paris. Leaders and tech executives talk governance, competition, and security. Thank you for tuning in. US President Donald Trump said that he will announce 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports into the United States on Monday. Speaking aboard Air Force One, Trump said he would also announce reciprocal tariffs on Tuesday or Wednesday, which he said will go into effect immediately. During his first term, Trump imposed tariffs of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum, but later granted several trading partners exemptions, including Canada, Mexico, and Brazil. Former President Joe Biden later negotiated duty-free arrangements with the European Union, Britain, and Japan. The U.S. remains a major steel importer, with Canada accounting for 79% of U.S. aluminum imports, while Mexico remains a key source of aluminum scrap and alloy. China's counter tariffs to U.S. goods have come into effect following Donald Trump's imposition of levies on Chinese goods. Traders in China's export manufacturing hub of Yiwu shrugged off Trump's tariffs, with some saying that they had already made preparations.
The city of Yiwu is China's major export hub for small goods, and traders there say businesses will continue despite concerns over rising U.S. tariffs. Businessmen such as Ren Hao of Jingxi Toys believe profit margins and pricing flexibility will help offset the impact. He says tariff increases won't significantly affect his business, as buyers would absorb some of the costs.
Adding a 50% will not impact us much. First of all, our product is a high-profit product. For example, if I sell it here for 5 yuan, the wholesalers may give consumers a price of 15 or 20 yuan, because this is standard pricing in the US. Even if a tariff adds 2.5 yuan to 5 yuan a toy, the impact on the end consumer isn't too significant. Additionally, they now have a reason to increase prices for their customers, and they will also try to negotiate with us. For instance, they might say, our tariffs increased, can you cover some of the cost for us? And we would agree. After all, they are long-term clients, so we would support them to some extent. The US accounts for about 80% of our exports.
Cheng Haodong, chairman of Beisi Group, says his company has adjusted operations already, having anticipated stricter U.S. trade policies. His business was using the de minimis trade loophole, which saw smaller packages being sent through platforms such as Temu and Shein. However, this process has been revoked.
We gathered information from various reports, as well as on platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Based on that, we made strategic adjustments for the company in advance. It's not about reacting immediately when a policy is announced. By then, it would be too late to adapt.
As trade tensions escalate, businesses on both sides are adjusting to a rapidly changing economic landscape.
Australia plans to request exemptions from U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said in Parliament. Albanese added that he has a scheduled discussion with Trump. Country's trade minister came out with a statement saying that Australian steel and aluminum are creating thousands of good-paying American jobs and are key for shared defense interests. In New York, protests broke out against Donald Trump's immigration policies, with demonstrators calling for an end to mass deportations.
Protests unfolded in New York City's Times Square, with demonstrators voicing their opposition to the administration's immigration policies and ongoing mass deportations. Holding signs and chanting slogans, they demanded more inclusive immigration reforms. Many of the protesters carried Palestinian flags, showing solidarity with the people of Gaza in response to President Donald Trump's recent controversial remarks. During a press conference last week, Trump suggested that the US might take over the Gaza Strip and resettle its population elsewhere, triggering widespread reactions. Speaking alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he proposed relocating Palestinians to neighbouring Arab countries like Egypt and Jordan. This suggestion, which Trump has reiterated in recent weeks, has been firmly rejected by Palestinian leaders, as well as Arab nations in the region. On Sunday, Trump once again expressed his commitment to buying and owning Gaza and suggested that other Middle Eastern countries could help rebuild sections of the region.
I'm committed to buying and owning Gaza. As far as us rebuilding it, we may give it to other states in the Middle East to build sections of it. Other people may do it through our auspices, but we're committed to owning it, taking it, and making sure that Hamas doesn't move back. There's nothing to move back into. The place is a demolition site. It'll be, the remainder will be demolished. Everything's demolished. I mean, you can't live in those buildings right now. They're very unsafe. But we'll make it into a very good site for future development by somebody. We'll let other countries develop parts of it. It'll be beautiful.
The international response has been swift and largely negative. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan called the proposal unacceptable, rejecting the idea of displacing Gaza's population. Saudi Arabia, a key US ally, also rejected the plan outright, stating that it would not normalise relations with Israel without the establishment of a Palestinian state. Countries such as China, Germany, Russia, France and the UK have expressed concern, reaffirming their support for a two-state solution and condemning Trump's remarks as a violation of international law.
Thousands of Afghans who helped the US during its lengthy war in Afghanistan remain stranded as Trump's decision to halt resettlement programs leaves them in uncertainty. Our Tamim Bahiz brings more on that from Kabul.
Afghans who assisted the US in its fight against the Taliban remain in limbo after President Donald Trump decided to terminate programs designed to bring them to safety in America. Reports indicate that more than 15,000 Afghans had already been approved for travel before the pause was implemented. The Afghans who assisted the US in its longest war came from various backgrounds, including drivers, translators, military and intelligence personnel, journalists, as well as women leaders and activists. In August 2021, as the US carried out its evacuation from Kabul, American military aircraft transported tens of thousands of Afghans from the city's main airport. However, countless others were left behind. Several programs were created to help Afghans emigrate to the US, depending on their role in supporting the US-led mission in Afghanistan. Many Afghans still stranded in countries like Pakistan, Albania, and Qatar, and some even within Afghanistan had been waiting for transfer to the US. Shocked by the setbacks, many veterans who assisted the Afghans in finding refuge in the US remain hopeful that they will receive special consideration. Tamim Bahiz, A News, Kabul, Afghanistan.
Elon Musk, the billionaire appointed by Donald Trump to lead the federal government slashes, has called for the shutdown of two media organizations funded by the US, claiming they are no longer relevant. Musk made the remarks in response to a post on X by Richard Grenell, the US Special Envoy for Special Missions, who criticized the Voice of America and Radio Free Europe outlets as taxpayer-funded media filled with, quote, far-left activists. Rescue efforts continue to find at least 28 missing people as a landslide buried nearly 8 dozen homes in China's Sichuan province. At least one person has died in the landslide triggered by heavy rain.
Rescue operations are underway in China's southwestern Sichuan province after a devastating landslide struck on Saturday, February 8th. One person has been confirmed dead, 2 injured, and at least 28 remain missing. State broadcaster CCTV reports that more than a kilometre of land was affected. The disaster left homes buried under rocks and mud, with emergency teams racing against time to locate survivors. Preliminary assessments suggest the landslide was triggered by heavy rainfall and unstable geological conditions, a growing concern for regions prone to such disasters. Sichuan, known for its mountainous terrain and frequent seismic activity, has witnessed several deadly landslides in recent years. Experts warn that climate change and deforestation may be increasing the risk of such disasters. Authorities have mobilised hundreds of personnel, including firefighters, medical teams and geologists, as the search for the missing continues.
Romanian President Klaus Iohannis resigned in a move he said was to prevent the country from entering a crisis that would ensue as the parliament was expected to vote for his impeachment. In office since 2014, Iohannis has already served a maximum of 2 5-year terms. However, his presidency was extended after the Constitutional Court in December cancelled the results of a presidential race in which controversial ultra-nationalist Călin Georgescu unexpectedly won the first round. Georgescu's win was marred by allegations of Russian interference and electoral violations. Following the president's resignation, the Senate chief will become interim president of Romania. The Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania completed a switch from Russia's electricity grid to the EU's system on Sunday, severing Soviet-era ties amid heightened security after the suspected sabotage of several subsea cables and pipelines.
Goodbye Russia, goodbye Russia, goodbye Lenin. We made it.
Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania have synchronized their electricity systems with the European continental power grid. This move marked an end for a long-planned transition to enhance energy security and reduce reliance on Russia.
Today, history is...
Moments ago, I received great news. The synchronization of the Baltic states' electricity system with the continental European system has been successfully completed. This is a historic moment, marking the end of a long journey for Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia.
The transition is a major step in the Baltic states' integration with the European Union, ending one of their last energy ties to the former Soviet Union. On February the 8th, they disconnected from the IPC-UPC network, a power system set up by the Soviet Union in the 1950s and now run by Russia. Following this, cross-border high-voltage transmission lines in eastern Latvia near the Russian border were physically cut. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen celebrated the achievement at a ceremony in Vilnius. During the historic event, von der Leyen and the presidents of Latvia, Lithuania and Poland symbolically activated the connection between the Baltic states and the EU's power grid, marking the completion of the long-planned transition.
Today is a day to celebrate, because this is about more than energy. It is about European integration. It is about European sovereignty. It is about proving once again that when we come together, we can move mountains. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, you are at the heart of Europe. You work tirelessly for this moment. And today, all of Europe celebrates with you.
The successful synchronization represents a major milestone in the Baltic nations' pursuit of energy independence. It reinforces their commitment to European integration, while also reduces vulnerability to external energy pressures.
The Amman Dialogue, bringing together chiefs of navies, coast guards and defense forces, is underway in Karachi. Our Anastasia Lavrina is covering the talks on international maritime cooperation and brings more from the event.
Hello again. Today we are in Karachi, Pakistan, attending Amman Dialogue 2025. Now we are about to witness something special. We are talking about maritime counterterrorism demo conducted jointly by Pakistani Marines and Special Services Group. More on this issue, as well as about importance of Amman exercises, you can get from our exclusive interviews conducted before right now. The first Amman exercises was held in 2007 and today is 2025. Could you please tell us about its development and special importance in nowadays?
Yeah, thank you very much. As you said, it was started as an idea in 2007 and biennially it has been conducted after that. So if you see, then we started off with about 27 or 28 countries. But now, as of today, you have seen that it is over 60 countries and around 120 delegates they have participating. This is the trust of the other nations which is being bestowed on Pakistan, especially in the maritime domain. So the purpose of this exercise has always been that seas are the common heritage of humankind. And we need to get together to produce the things which are goodness of the people. So that is the theme on which these organizations work. So our theme was, of course, Together for Peace. So unless there is no peace at sea, there will be no trade. And if there is no trade, then you cannot have peace on land and the welfare of the people. So that is where we are working together. And over the period now, it has matured to a level that this time we added the Amman Dialogue. So Amman Dialogue is actually to give a common place to the seafarers, the practitioners, to come up and share their ideas, their experiences, the challenges which they are facing, so that we can collaborate together, make some new strategies, make some special operating procedures, and combine together we can produce good governance at sea, and that is the ultimate aim.
Well, maritime security. In the first panel discussion, it was mentioned that this is very important in the development of any transport communication, transport links, and there is a lot of opportunity nowadays, especially in the partnership between Pakistan and Azerbaijan. So where do you see the future perspectives and how the participation of Azerbaijan in this event benefits the event itself?
You see, all the world, they are considered as a maritime nation, even if they are landlocked or not. Why? Because they have the leverage under the UN Convention Law of the Sea that they can have the sea facilities available. So I think in terms of trade, in terms of economic integration, and in terms of using the sea for benefit of humanity, we have a lot of commons with each other, where we can share the ideas, where we can collaborate, and we can make the people of both the countries to have a better living standards.
And if I may ask you a question about the partnership between our countries, in many other spheres, where there is a perspectives for the future collaboration?
Yeah, in the future, as we have started with this Amman Dialogue, this is actually the part and parcel of 1.5 diplomacy. In that, we converge the countries to some common grounds, and then we develop some common understanding, and then develop the political will to work together. So these kind of platforms, eventually they translate into political will, and then they translate into some tangible measures in which we can exchange ourselves economically, we can support each other, and we can work together.
Thank you very much.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
Could you please explain us what is happening here today?
Good afternoon, ma'am. As you can see, this site is prepared for maritime counter-terrorism demonstration. This is part of Aman Exercise 2025. And over here, we are exhibiting the skills of our Special Operation Forces operators. We are conducting different evolutions. Right now, if you can see that the skydivers, they have jumped from an aircraft from the height of 8,000 feet, and they are landing in front of the main rostrum. So in this demonstration, we have performed different evolutions, starting from helicopter drop, flights, and anti or counter-terrorism demonstration, in which we have created a situation of or simulation of hostage rescue situation. Our SEALs, also in Pakistan we call them SSG Navy, they have exhibited their skills. They entered into the field from sea, air, and land. It was a coordinated attack, coordinated evolution, and we have safely evacuated the hostages from the captivity of the terrorists.
Here, as we can see, not only the Pakistani Navy, there are also other representatives from other countries, right? Which countries are?
Ma'am, there are more than 60 countries who are taking part in this exercise. And they include from Turkey, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, and there are many other brotherly and friendly countries who are taking part in this exercise. It is a multinational exercise, and more than 60 reps from the 60 countries, they are present here in Pakistan for this exercise.
Thank you.
The Aral Sea is showing signs of recovery with rising water levels, while the water loss in the Caspian Sea is raising regional concerns. Environmental experts warn of a possible ecological disaster. Our Fariza Kalimurzina has more on that.
The Aral Sea, located on the border of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, continues to show signs of revival. According to Kazakhstan's Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, for the last 4 months, the northern Aral Sea received 1 billion cubic meters of water, which is 100 million cubic meters more than originally planned. In accordance with the agreement signed with the Central Asian countries, a total of 1.6 billion cubic meters of water will be supplied to the North Aral Sea by March 2025. Currently, the volume of water in the sea stands at 22.1 billion cubic meters, with expectations to reach 23.4 billion by the end of the year. As a result, the water salinity level has decreased and the populations of 22 fish species have been restored. Annual fishery volumes have reached 8,000 tons. Additionally, 4.4 million seedlings have been planted in the dried-up regions of the Greater Aral Sea as part of ongoing reclamation efforts. Kazakhstan now leads the International Fund for Saving the Aral Sea, with its leadership in the organization set to continue for the next 3 years. Meanwhile, environmentalists warn that after the loss of the Aral Sea, the world cannot afford to accept the same fate for the Caspian Sea. New data shows that its water levels are dropping rapidly. In Kazakhstan, the coastline has retreated by as much as 18 kilometers in certain areas, with the water level decreasing at an average rate of 70 centimeters per year. Satellite data reveals a concerning 7% decrease in the Kazakh sector of the Caspian Sea over the past 15 years. The Caspian Sea, the largest enclosed body of water in the world, is crucial for over 270 million people living in Kazakhstan, Russia, Turkmenistan, Iran, and Azerbaijan. Kazakhstan, already a water-deficient country with only 2.8% of its land covered by water, faces significant challenges. 2/3 of the country's territory is arid with limited access to water resources. Additionally, a large portion of Kazakhstan's water resources depends on neighboring countries. As the Caspian Sea continues to shrink, experts emphasize the urgent need for cooperative regional solutions to safeguard this vital water source and prevent an environmental crisis similar to the Aral Sea disaster. From Kazakhstan, Fariza Kalimurzina, A News.
The AI Action Summit kicked off in Paris, attracting world leaders, top tech executives, and policymakers. to discuss artificial intelligence's impact on global security, economics, and governance.
Paris is hosting nearly 100 nations as world leaders, tech giants and researchers gather to shape the future of artificial intelligence. The AI Action Summit, opening at the Grand Palais, is set to address regulation, economic disruption, and AI's role in global power dynamics. France, pushing to define a European AI model, has pledged 109 billion euros toward AI development, emphasizing open-source alternatives and energy-efficient computing. Meanwhile, China's DeepSeek, which recently challenged US tech dominance with a cost-effective AI model, has intensified debates over AI sovereignty. The US approach remains uncertain. Since taking office, President Donald Trump has revoked Biden-era AI policies and faces calls to tighten export controls on AI chips. With American tech firms investing billions, Washington must decide whether to align with global regulations or push for deregulation. Tech leaders, including Alphabet and Microsoft, will discuss investment, AI security, and expanding AI access to developing nations. A $2.5 billion global AI fund is under negotiation, aiming to bridge the gap between major powers and smaller economies. At its core, the summit asks who will control AI, governments, corporations, or the world at large. The outcome will shape the global AI landscape for years to come.
Over in Italy, the Balloon Museum in Rome is hosting an exhibition of 20 interactive artworks by renowned international contemporary artists who explored the theme of air between wonder and fun. The exhibition will be open until the end of March.
A mesmerizing new exhibition has arrived at Rome's Balloon Museum, where visitors are immersed in a world of art, movement, and light. The exhibit showcases a series of interactive installations where vibrant balloons float through the air, giant spheres roll freely, and sculptures glow in unexpected ways. The museum's space has been completely transformed, allowing visitors of all ages to explore and engage with the artwork in an interactive and playful environment.
The best thing, in my opinion, is that the exhibition appeals to both children and adults. It's something that everyone can enjoy. And more than just play, it's also culture. Even children who might initially see it as just a fun experience can begin to understand the beauty of art and culture.
One highlight includes a house-shaped installation filled with floating balloons, while others dive into a sea of white or swing beneath illuminated sculptures.
We try to find artistic and creative experiences where we can move around the space and interact with the exhibits. We really enjoyed it and had so much fun in the ball pit, sinking and being completely immersed in a sea of balls. The San Lorenzo installation was also amazing, with lights descending from above and a platform surrounded by swings so you can move around freely. There is also a railing inside where you can lie down, which is really nice.
The exhibition, designed to inspire creativity and wonder, invites guests to interact, play, and dream.
Well, that's all we have for you for now. Thank you for watching, and do stay tuned to A News.